Hey, Math 8, this is Mr. Bainey, and we're going to take a look at, hey, what's up, Math 1? We're going to take, hello, this is Mr. Bainey. Here we have lesson 12.1, the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem statement is right here on our first page, but before I actually get to that, I want to direct your attention on the right side, which is this shape. It is a triangle, and specifically, it is a right triangle. So right here, remember that this little box, we've seen this before in the last module, that means it is 90 degrees, right? That is our right angle, 90 degrees. In order to use the Pythagorean theorem, it must be a right triangle, okay? Because it says here that in a right triangle, over on the left side, even in the Pythagorean theorem, it says in a right triangle. So that's the most important thing. If the triangle does not have a right angle, we cannot use this Pythagorean theorem. Okay, here's what it states. The sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so in a right triangle, if this is the right angle, we have two legs. The two legs connect the right angle at the right angle. The hypotenuse is the longest side. That's the hypotenuse. So what we're going to do is in our problems that we're figuring out today, you're going to take one of the legs. Actually, let me label it. We call the legs A and B. We call the hypotenuse C. So the hypotenuse is always C. It doesn't matter if I put A on this leg and then B on this leg. I could switch those. That's fine. But the hypotenuse is always C. So our formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I don't generally like using that formula, so please write this down. I prefer the formula leg 1 squared, right? That means times itself, plus leg 2 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Okay? So remember that squaring a number means that you're going to multiply by itself. So I do leg 1 and leg 2 because it means that you don't use the same leg, right? You use the other one. Since we have two of them, make sure you are using each one, one here and one in the other parentheses. Okay. Here on page 379, I'm going to go through a couple problems here before you get your worksheet to continue practicing some more of these. So number 4, we're going to find the missing side. So first, I want you to identify your right angle. So that's right here. You can, instead of writing down it's the right angle, you can put 90 degrees, which means that the two legs connect where the right angle is. That means 40 is a leg. I'm going to put leg right here. And 30 is a leg. The other side is our hypotenuse. So I'm going to call that C. If you want to use X, that's fine also. It doesn't really matter. But it's just to stay consistent with the A, B, and the C. That means that when I set up my equation, it's going to be leg squared plus the other leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Our equation is going to be 30 squared plus 40 squared. Oops, I forgot to write the squared. Equals C squared. 30 squared means 30 times 30, right? Make sure you don't just multiply by 2, you square it, and that is 900. 40 squared is 40 times 40, which is 1,600. Definitely use your calculators. So 900 plus 1,600 is 2,500 equals c squared. And the way we figure this out, c squared is c times itself. Remember, we don't know what c is, so this is like asking what number, if I square it, is going to give me 2,500. Well, the way to do that is you just take the square root of 2,500. Okay, you'll need to know how to do that in your calculator. And it's the button that looks like this, right? Which is, it's usually next to or it's the same button as the squared button on the calculator. If you take the square root of 2,500, that is equal to 50. And that is our answer. Okay, let me show you how to do number 5, because this one's a little bit different. Our right angle is now on the right side. That's our 90-degree angle. So our two legs, I'm going to outline it in red, is the 40 and this side that we don't know. I'm going to call that side B. That's one of our legs, and 40 is our other leg. And that makes 41 the hypotenuse. That's our longest side. Okay, please get in the habit of doing that, just so you don't set up the equation the wrong way, because that's the most common mistake. So we have 40 squared plus b squared. We don't know what b is this time. And that equals 41 squared. Let me erase some of this other answer here so that's not in the way. And 40 squared is going to give us 1,600, or sorry, 1,600. We don't know what b squared is. 41 squared is going to give us 1,681. I had to use my calculator for that one. The next step is to subtract 1,600 on both sides. Because I want to know what b is, but it's adding the 1,600. So I want to make that a 0. That's why I'm subtracting it. When I subtract it, I get b squared equals 81. And some of you may already know this without using a calculator. We are looking for what number, if I square it, is going to give me 81. Remember, the way to do that is we have to take the square root of 81, which is going to be 9. Okay, so it means that the length of this side that we don't know is 9. And thinking about number 4, the length of our longest side is 50 in that triangle. Okay, on your handout, we're going to practice the same type of problem on one side, which is finding the missing hypotenuse. It says it over here on the left side. We don't know what the hypotenuse is. And then on the back side of this, I'll go ahead and go over one of those, but that's going to be finding the missing leg, since those are all related to each other and how we solve it. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these for us to do. So let's do letter U. It's the second one down from the left side here. Just go right below. So we have our right angle is here, and 4 is a leg, and 7 is a leg. If you don't feel like you have enough space here to do this problem, or to do all the problems for that matter, because I want you to show work. You must show work. Make sure that you're doing this on a separate piece of paper. You're writing your name on it to turn that in. Okay, our hypotenuse is the side that we do not know. Hypotenuse. And we're going to do leg squared plus the other leg squared. So that's 4 squared plus 7 squared. And that's going to equal c squared. Right? We don't know what the hypotenuse is. That's our c. 4 squared is 16, because it's 4 times 4. Then 7 squared, which is 7 times 7, is 49. That equals c squared. If I add 16 and 49 together, let's see, that's 65 equals c squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of 65. And I'm going to have to use my calculator for that. Square root of 65 is a really long decimal, but just round it. It's about 8.06, and that is how long that side is. This missing side is about 8.06. Okay, let's see where that is here on the bottom. So 8.06 actually rounds to the nearest tenth, and I didn't follow the directions here. I apologize. The directions up at the top says estimate to the tenths place if we need to, and that should actually be 8.1. So I'm going to put the letter U where 8.1 is, right there. And it looks like that's the only one I fill in. Okay, so there we go. That's how we solve the problem if the hypotenuse is missing, like we don't know what that side is. I'm going to do one of the problems here. Remember that we're trying to find the missing length of the side. So let's do the same problem. I'm going to do the second one down on that left side, and that is this one right here, the letter O. The right angle is located here, which means that this is our leg, the 7, and then this is our other leg. I can call that side B if I want to. And then our hypotenuse is the 10. So it's leg squared plus the other leg squared equals a hypotenuse squared. That is 7 squared plus b squared is going to give us 10 squared. 7 squared is 49, right? 7 times 7 plus b squared. 10 squared is 100. I need to subtract 49 because the b squared is adding it. Right? Notice how this is different. I didn't add two numbers together. We're subtracting here. I get b squared equals 51. Okay, to figure this out, I have to take the square root of 51. And I do need to round this to the nearest tenth, as the directions say up at the top. So that's about 7.1. I forgot the units on the other side as well, but it should be inches. 7.1 inches. You want to make sure it shows up here down here at the bottom. All right, this is a great way to check your answer. It should be at the bottom somewhere, and if it's not, you made a mistake. So the letter O goes in that second box where we see 7.1 inches. And there's the work again. All right, this is how you solve this is how you find the third side of a right triangle if the third side is a leg, right, compared to the hypotenuse that's on the other side. All right, please practice all of these on both sides of this handout. And that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.